Hi, y'all. I miss you guys. I hope y'all are doing good. We are talking today about proportions, and this is a little bit of a review because we've covered this already in the year. So I think when we start getting into it, we're gonna find our groove, and it's gonna be pretty easy for us. But to recap, okay, we talked about proportions at the start of this unit. So a proportion is going to be showing that two ratios are equal to each other. Okay, so I can use a proportion to show that two comparisons are equal. Now, if I look at this example, this is an example of a proportion. So I'm comparing red to white here. Okay, in this first one, I've got one red rectangle and well, two total. I should say total on this, but I said white. So, anyways, so one red, two total. Now over here, I've got two red and four total. Okay, so if I look at the amount of space that is taken up, then it is the same for this first ratio and this second ratio, meaning that I can make those equal to each other because they are equivalent in what they are comparing. Okay, so that's a proportion. Now, when you're given a proportion, you're going to be asked to solve for missing values. Okay, this may ring a bell with what we did with percentages, okay, at the start of the year. You can use proportions to set up comparisons to each other, fill in given values, and solve for missing values, okay? So when you're asked to do this, you have 3 steps. The first thing you're going to do is set up the labels of the two things that you're comparing. You're always going to be comparing two things. I like to say that you know what you're comparing because they're the labels that are attached to the numbers, okay? So first thing you're going to do, set up your labels. The good thing about this, proportions, just general proportions, you can put the labels in whatever order you want, okay? It doesn't matter what's on top or what's on bottom as long as you stick with that. Then you're going to do, fill in the values given to you in the problem. Put an X for the missing value, okay? Next, you're going to cross multiply and divide to solve for X. So if I read this problem, the chance of snowfall in November in Pennsylvania is about 1 snowy day out of 15 days. If there are 30 days in November, how many days would you expect there to be a snowfall? Well, if I look over here at my steps, my first one is set up the labels of the two things that I'm comparing. And I told you guys they would be attached to those numbers. So right here, I see 1 snowy day and 15 total days, okay? So it looks like when I go over here, I'm going to be setting up my labels to be snowy, and I'm just going to put snowy. You could put snowy days, you could put an S, whatever, to total, right? Because it tells me that there is 1 snowy day out of 15 days. Okay, well, going back to this, I've done my first step, set up my labels. Number 2, I'm filling in the values given to me in the problem. Okay, well, it gives me 1 snowy day, 15 total days. And then it also gives me the fact that there are 30 days in November. Okay, so I know that I have 30 total days as well. Well, y'all will notice I'm missing one of these things. You're always going to be missing one thing when you're asked to solve with a proportion. So it tells me I'm putting my X there because I am looking for what that number is. All right, third step, cross multiply and divide to solve for X. Okay, well, we've been doing this for a long time. So when I cross multiply, I'm going to take my corners, so 15 times X, write your equal sign, and then 30 times 1. All right, well, when I simplify this, 15 times X, we've been doing this for a long time, that's 15X. Bring your equal sign down, 30 times 1, well, that's 30. Now, this is just a one-step equation, okay? I need to get X by itself. Right now, I've got 15 times X, so to reverse that, I divide it out on both sides because you have to balance it out. So when I do that, I get X, I get my equal sign, and then I get 30 divided by 15. And when I type that in my calculator, I get 2. So there we go. There's your answer. All right. We did all of those steps. We set up labels, filled in values, used an x, cross multiplied, and divided. So now what I want you guys to do is try this next example on your own, see if you get the answer correct, and if you're stuck, go back and watch this